Hey there, welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streamio.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are maybe awaiting the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. Happy WrestleMania week to all of those who celebrate. And tonight we're going to celebrate it big time. We got a big show for you all here tonight. We're going to start it off with our TNA Rebellion recap. And then we'll get into Monday Night Raw. And then we'll get into NXT. Not much. We don't have much in the way of time to break all this down. But we're going to do the best we can. So with that being said, let's start it off with TNA Rebellion. This past Saturday night from the Wolstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio, on pay-per-view and also on the TNA Plus app. And without any further ado, let's dive on in. We started it off with a pre-show match because you got to have a pre-show match, of course. It was BDE one-on-one with Ryan Nemeth. Ryan Nemeth wins the match in an even 5 minutes. Now we go on to the main card. TNA X Division Championship on the line. The champion, Leon Slater, defending against Cedric Alexander. And the winner of the match in 14 minutes and 20 seconds. And still the TNA X Division champion. It is Leon Slater. 4 stars. There's no better opener for a pay-per-view than an X Division style match. Leon Slater continues to dominate as the X Division champion, and this match did not disappoint. It could have been the fight of the night, but it wasn't the first match between the two. But my goodness, I enjoyed every second of it. Solid 4 stars. Incredible match. MF, Leon Slater successfully defends the X Division title against Cedric Alexander 14-20. 4 stars is my rating. What says you?
Sorry about that. I thought I had it completely ready to go. No, I totally agree with what you just said. I thought 4 stars is definitely the correct rating. I thought they did a really fine job with it. Um, Solid opener, no doubt about it. Leon winning it is the right decision. I know there's some people that really felt like Cedric should have won the belt, but I'm not mad. Leon's been on a monumental run, one of the best runs we've ever had as an X Division champion. So I'm not mad that he won. So I actually am very high on Leon Slater, Anthony. I know you've known that for a little while now, especially during his time where he was teaming up with Javon Evans. How much I've been very high on him. So for Leon to win it, great outcome. Let's move on.
Next match was Frankie Kazarian squaring off against Elijah. Frankie Kazarian wins the match, 12 minutes and 25 seconds. MF, your thoughts?
Surprise of the night. I didn't think Frankie Kazarian was going to win this. I actually had my honest thoughts that it was probably going to be Elijah. I think we all predicted Elijah on our preview show, and I got to say this was at least a 3.5 star bout. I thought they did a fine job. I thought the action could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not going to be too hard about it. I thought they did fine for what it was worth. The time was more than fair. So yeah, this was kind of, for me, the surprise of the night. I did not have Frankie winning this match. Anthony, it's yours.
Solid 3 stars for me. A fun brawl, even if the referee did not disqualify either man for using the guitar in the match. When he finally got rid of what remained of it, Kazarian low blowed Elijah for the win. The king of TNA does not change, and Elijah continues to lose against him. What will be the next step or stipulation in this storyline? Maybe bring back the guitar case casket match like we saw against Mustafa Ali. We'll see. Speaking of Mustafa Ali, the enforcer of Order 4, Special Agent Zero, squared off against Moose. Moose had Alicia Edwards in his corner. Winner of the match in an even 11 minutes. Special Agent Zero picks up the win. 3.25 stars. Solid big man match that features some surprising agility and a cool spear through the table spot. Special Agent Zero offered a strong demonstration in his first singles match in TNA. Then Moose, playing the good guy who brings the injured lady backstage, did not work. We learned later that there was a reason why. Oh, big time reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So, 3.25 stars. MF, Elijah losing to Kazarian was a shocker, yes. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I think this is an even bigger shocker. I did not have Special Agent Zero winning this match. By hook or by crook, this is his biggest win today. And who knows, this could lead to some bigger and better things for Agent Zero.
Yes, in a way, I agree with it. With this caveat, there's been a lot of people that's actually been very high on Special Agent Zero, and you can notice, you feel it. Like maybe this could be the launch pad for Special Agent Zero from now until the end of 2026. I actually think he may become a champion in TNA. I really think they're very high on him, and I really think that just like how we're talking about guys like Braun Breaker, Obafemi, I think Special Agent Zero may become that next big thing in TNA, actually, Anthony. And I think I think we haven't really scratched the surface on this guy just yet, to be very honest. So 3 stars, no doubt. Let's move on.
And we move on to a 6-woman hardcore country tag team match. All 3 members of the Elegance brand, Ash by Elegance, and the Knockouts tag team champions, Heather and M by Elegance. And where they go, the personal concierge, George Iceman, and Mr. Elegance are not that far behind. They squared off against 3 of the great knockouts in TNA history, Hall of Famer Mickie James, former knockout champion Taryn Terrell, and ODB Bam. Winners of the match once again in an even 11 minutes. It's the Elegance brand. The Elegance brand picks up the win, but wait, there was more. After the match was over, Tommy Dreamer, alongside of TNA President Carlos Silva, made their way to the ring for a surprise announcement. 6 months from now, on Sunday night, October the 11th, at the Yuengling Center, formerly the USF Sundome in Tampa, TNA will present their biggest event of the year, Bound for Glory. That's Columbus Day weekend. And of course, just like with WrestleMania in WWE, they have a Hall of Fame of their own. And it was announced that ODB will be the first inductee into the 2026 TNA Hall of Fame. MF, the Elegance brand, they won the match, yes, in an even 11 minutes, but ODB gets the last laugh. She's going into the Hall of Fame.
And well deserved. ODB has been one of those that I think a lot of people have been begging for her to be in the Hall of Fame for a number of years, and for some odd reason, she hasn't gotten the moment, hasn't gotten her due until now. Definitely one of the standout knockouts of our time. Multiple knockouts world champion in her own right. And for me, well-deserved. A well-deserved honor. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't think there's anybody who would have even argued or even complained. Like, you know, there's certain people where you're just like, really? That person is getting into the Hall of Fame? The minute we heard ODB was going in, we all were going, bam! Yes! Absolutely, let's go. I mean, I think we all were. There is not one person that I've read or seen or heard since this announcement that said anything negative about ODB going into the Hall of Fame. I think we all can agree this was absolutely deserved, earned, and absolutely the right decision. The fans that were yelling, "You deserve it," we all agree with that. She deserves it in spades. Congratulations, ODB. Congratulations on making the Hall of Fame. Cannot wait to see you on Bound for Glory weekend when that goes down. As far as the match goes, I hate to say it, it was the worst fight of the night, but it was fine for what it was worth. It got ample time, and the chaos factor of the match definitely came out in it. But do I believe that the right outcome was made? No, but two and a quarter, no, 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star, solid for what it was worth. But like you said, Anthony, it was more about the Hall of Fame announcement and why we all felt such a feel good when that happened. So, Florio, it's yours.
With all due respect, MF, I disagree. I think you underscored this a bit. I'm actually going to give this 3.25 stars because it was crazy fun. What was not fun was to see the Elegance brand win. Now, there are times where I'm a fan of hardcore things. So the lollipops, the wheelbarrow, the hay bale, the pickle costume, and the pickles. And ODB with one of those funny moments that MF and I used to have a lot of fun with, the feel good. You remember that?
Yes, the gorillas. I remember.
Yep. Taking the grill tongs to the nether region of
Oh,
Mr. Elegance.
oh no. Yes.
That to me was worth more than anything else. And then why make knockouts legends come if they come to lose? But then the answer came a few seconds later. ODB in the Hall of Fame. TNA President Carlos Silva and Tommy Dreamer came to the mess that the ring was just after the bout. Silva said that for everything that ODB has done for the company, he wants to see her at TNA Bound for Glory in October because she will be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. And she does deserve it. Absolutely, absolutely so. Rightfully
And she
so.
wanted to beat the living daylights out of Tommy Dreamer. You saw she was like, I hate you. I hate you so much because she's not a sentimental type person. She doesn't like to cry. She tries
Oh
to
no.
give this hard exterior like everybody else. And it's almost similar to like when Undertaker inducted Stephanie McMahon into the Hall of Fame. She got caught completely off guard, did not
Right.
expect it coming, and she looked at Taker like, I'm gonna freaking kill you for this.
Well, Friday night, Friday night will be her big moment, and can't wait for that. Nobody more so than me, but can't wait for that on Friday. But quick rundown of the resume: Midwest Pro Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion was ODB, two-time and inaugural OVW Women's Champion, and she was voted Miss OVW in 2007. PWI ranked her number 14 of the top 50 female wrestlers in the PWI Female 50 in 2008. Steel Domain Wrestling Women's Champion, Texas Wrestling Federation Women's Champion, but her most success, obviously, in TNA, four-time knockout champion. And believe it or not, was a one-time knockout tag team champion with Eric Young. Go figure. 2008 and 2017, she won the gauntlet for the gold for the knockouts, won the New Year's Knockout Eve tournament in 2010, Queen of the Cage in 2009, was on the winning team for the TNA World Cup of Wrestling in 2014 with Bully Ray, Gunner, Eddie Edwards, and Eric Young, and obviously will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this October the 11th. Bound for Glory, Columbus Day weekend. Yingling Center, USF Sundome. That's where you're going to see that. And last but not least was also a USWO, that's United States Wrestling Organization television champion one time. So congratulations to ODB on behalf of all of us here at Talking Wrestling TXN. Well-deserved honor, and we look forward to seeing your induction 6 months from now. So, all right, back to the action here. AJ Francis, one-on-one with Nick Nemeth, and in Nick Nemeth's corner, legendary Cleveland Browns quarterback Bernie Kosar. Yes, you heard me right. Bernie Kosar from those Cleveland Brown teams of the late 1980s that had those good teams, but just had that kryptonite in the Denver Broncos, as we all
Yeah.
know. Damn shame. They should have had at least had one Super Bowl out of
At
it.
least
But
one
that's
Super
another
Bowl.
story.
I think 87 was their closest one because they almost had it, if I
The
remember
fumble.
correctly.
That's the fumble.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. All right. And Nick Nemeth wins the match in an even 16 minutes. So all right, I believe I start this one off here.
Yes, you do.
Okay. 3 stars for me. The match was a little too long and wasn't as strong as some of the stuff that came before it. It was a feel-good moment. The hometown boy, Nick Nemeth, with the win. Bernie Kosar got involved in the match to help him win. Nemeth as a babyface doesn't really work for me. More than anything, it was so nice to see Casey Navarro back after more than 8 months out. And myself, Michael Bullock, and our dear friend Mike Silvera, you remember when we went to that TNA Impact taping last July at the Ryan Center at URI. That's where they did the breakup angle for First Class.
Mm.
That's the night when AJ Francis turned on Casey Navarro, kicked him out of First Class, and brought back Rich Swann. And Casey Navarro is back. And oh, by the way, this Thursday night on Impact, Casey Navarro, AJ Francis, 1-on-1. So even though we will not be addressing that on Friday night, and I will explain why, very big reason and a very good reason at that. So, but anyways, 3 stars is the best I can go with it. Went a little too long, but at the end though, we did get the feel good moment MF with Nick Nemeth and Bernie Kosar celebrating, and Casey Navarro back. He gets a chance to get the ultimate payback on AJ on Thursday night.
On Thursday night, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this. I mean, that's going to be a very interesting matchup. 3 stars, yeah. Look, we always kind of poo-poo about special guests and everything else. Bernie Kosar looked way off. Like, you could tell it's something, like, when he was in the ring.
That chair shot? What was that chair shot?
Yeah, that chair shot was a little weak. I can't. But
right up
but
there
you
with
also,
Gerald Briscoe on Stone Cold at the '98 Survivor Series.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
of those were, oof.
It was a little brutal. I mean, but look, he's not. Look, you got to give credit where credit's due because he's not the old. He's not that old, but he is kind of old in the wrestling age, you could say.
He's 63.
But still, man, I mean, he's one of those where I wish he would have stayed out of the match. And now, if it was Casey Navarro who was there, then that would have been more than fine because that would have been comeuppance. But just to have him there, just to do that, no, I can't agree with it. I gotta punish it a little bit. I'll give this about maybe 2.5 to 2 3/4 because of it. I mean, it was still a fine match. It just wasn't really about the ending. But other than that, that's it. Florio, go.
Knockouts Championship on the line. The champion, Ariana Grace, with her fiance, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, in her corner, defending against the former champion, Lei Ying Lee, Zaya Brookside in her corner. Winner of the match, 8 minutes until the TNA Knockout champion. It is Ariana Grace. But believe it or not, it was not because of Stacks. We thought it was going to be because of Stacks. It was not. It was Zaya.
Yeah.
Zaya Brookside turning on Lei Ying Lee. And it looks to me, even though it's not really official yet, Zaya Brookside could possibly become a future member of Birthright. And it would make sense because, hello, her father, Robbie Brookside.
Yeah.
Come on, you should know
it would. It would fit. It would fit the narrative. And on top of that, it would merge because now for the first time ever, now you would have a TNA star into the Birthright. Because remember, all the guys who are formerly on Birthright right now have all been members of NXT. This would be the first TNA star to join Birthright. And now that would make it more of a major threat because now you have Birthright on two brands. And that actually may be a great move if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, in the story, because now you can have Birthright jump between two shows or two companies. That might be even a bigger thing if that does pan to be the case. We don't know. We'll see. But it would fit the narrative, Anthony, if you think about it. But I hate to say it, but that turn kind of felt expected. I don't know why. I kind of felt like Zaya was gonna turn. Something told me that. I don't know what it was, but I just felt it. But at the end of the day, Ariana Grace is a worthy champion. She's starting to get better in the ring, and I think it definitely has proven to be true. 2.5 to 2 3/4. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5 stars. When I think we kind of missed something here. When Stax said that he had a plan, Birthright, the NXT faction made of sons and daughters of wrestlers. When Zaya Brookside stayed at ringside, we never thought she would turn heel and become a member of the Birthright. Ariana Grace is not the best wrestler, not the prototypical champion, as she has to win by any underhanded way that she can. But, it is what it is. So I do agree, 2.5 stars. Then we had a rare in-ring segment during a pay-per-view. Eric Young came down, and guess who's back in TNA? EC3, Ethan Carter III. He is back. EC3 was at home. It came down to Eric Young doing the welcoming embraces. There was nothing sexy here, just a wrestler coming back to TNA wrestling after 5, not 9 years away. And by the way, EC3 and Eric Young, they go one-on-one Thursday night on Impact. So, got that to look forward to. TNA International Championship on the line. The champion, Trey Miguel, defending against Mustafa Ali. He had Order 4 in his corner, Tasha Steelz and the Good Hands, Jason Hotch and John Schuyler. Winner of the match in 12 minutes and 40 seconds. And new TNA International Champion, Mustafa Ali. 4.25 stars. I thought it was going to be tough to top the opener between Leon Slater and Cedric Alexander. False. Mustafa Ali and Trey Miguel blew that out of the water. The action was unreal. They just threw everything they had at each other. The Great Hands and Tasha Steelz interfered. You knew it would happen. It doesn't take anything away from what happened in the ring. Fantastic match. And oh, by the way, Mustafa Ali gets that big championship moment. So good on him. 4.25 stars. I could go as far as to call this my fight of the night if I wanted to. So 4.25 stars. MF, new champion. Hit us with those magic words, Monsoon.
Yeah, it is history being made. Do I feel like it's an unprecedented crowning? I don't know. We'll see. I'll leave that up for debate. But anyway, Mustafa winning the title, yes, crowning achievement, definitely deserved it. And what's really going to be interesting is how they're going to play it now on. But yeah, I mean, this was a great moment for me and a great moment for Mustafa Ali, I should say, and for the fans of Mustafa Ali, who's been dying to see him reach the pinnacle for a little while now, and he's finally done it. So, 4.25 stars, definitely fight of the night. Anthony, I believe we got the main event now.
Well, we have 2 matches left.
Oh, okay.
But then there was another segment. We got the Undead Realm, and look who showed back up in TNA. A TNA original, the Monster, Abyss, and Father Jim Mitchell. On top of that, okay. Kudos to Eric Tompkins, who once again made magic with his cinematic orchestra. Mitchell's apology to Abyss was a deep, humanistic speech. Abyss remembered all the matches, the barbed wire with no regret. Mitchell said that when he was a child, he wanted to be a mad scientist because he wanted to build monsters. And Abyss proved him wrong. Click, Doomsday, one more time, and Abyss disappeared. And then Rosemary grins, so it's not over. So there's definitely more than that meets the eye. So, man, that brought back some memories. Abyss and Jim Mitchell. TNA World Tag Team titles on the line. The champions, the Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, defending against Bear Bronson and Brian Myers of the System. Winners of the match, 10 minutes and 25 seconds. And new TNA World Tag Team champions, Bear Bronson, Brian Myers, MF. The System reboot has their first piece of gold.
Yeah, and this was kind of the catalyst. We kind of started thinking, could this be the moment where now the System takes over? Well, we'll get into the main event in just a matter of moments, but at the end of the day, yeah, this was a great matchup, a solid matchup, a 3-star bout for me. And like you said, history was indeed made. The crowning of new tag team champions, and like we said, the System finally has gotten on the board. They got the tag team titles in their possession. Anthony, it's yours.
3.25 stars for me. If the Hardys wanted to get rid of the Righteous, they had to lose the championship. Then the System may not have been the greater choice. The match was hard to watch because Jeff and Matt seemed to be suffering from doing what they love the most. At 51 and 48 respectively, Matt and Jeff couldn't be as extreme as they were for a very, very long time. Easy to say, even if hard to deal with. So that was a 3.25 star match. Main event of the evening for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Mike Santana, defending against Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards cashing in his Feast or Fired briefcase. The winner of the match, 19 minutes and 25 seconds. And still the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. It is Mike Santana. 3.5 stars is the best I can go with this. The match went from being a slow, plodding affair to an overbooked cluster bleep, where the big surprise, well, not really a surprise. I mean, we all felt this was coming sooner or later. Alicia Edwards betraying Moose to realign with Eddie Edwards in the System, and that didn't even pay off. It was a good match, wasted by everything happening around. The TNA World Heavyweight Championship was not defended. It became a toy in the storyline. Moose stared at Mike Santana from the ramp after the match. If Moose is the next number one contender, the System will still be running after him. And so the title match would be a bad one. We have the right world champion, but not the right world championship matches. So that's really all I can say on that. So 3.5 stars is my rating for it. So MF, Mike Santana, still the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but to the surprise of none of us, we knew it was going to happen at some point. Alicia Edwards has turned on Moose, and she is back with the System.
Yeah, it was, but the thing was that it was supposed to have been this perfect laid out plan that the System had that was going to bring Alicia back to the fold, and it was a backfire. Like, you saw right before our very eyes that the plan got blown up in the face, and Moose figured it out. Like, he knew something was up, he knew something wasn't right, and he actually was able to put the 2 and 2 together right at the right moment that actually cost Eddie Edwards everything. His Feast or Fired case is a failure. That's the biggest story of them all. Because whenever you do a Money in the Bank, whenever you do a Feast or Fired, 90, almost 80 or 90% of the time, the person that catches it in goes on to win the title. And it blew up. That's a big factor more than anything else about the outcome of the match. 3 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
MF, you lead off with the overall thoughts. How did TNA Rebellion do?
I think they did fine. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was a solid pay per view. It was a solid show. I'll give this about an 8 out of 10. I thought they did a good job. I don't really think it was anything more than that. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I agree. 8 out of 10. Good, very good pay per view, to say the very least. And Cleveland State, yeah, you had a good one there. Few surprises here and there. Some very good matches, of course. Mustafa Ali and Trey Miguel. I thought they had the fight. I thought they were the fight of the night. Right behind that, Leon Slater and Cedric Alexander, and I think the main event rounds out the top three. So surprising outcomes. I will be honest. I mean, we got a lot of our predictions wrong, if I'm going to be honest.
A
But
lot of them were wrong. Yeah, we definitely had some egg on the face throughout the night.
it was worth it.
Yeah.
Unpredictability. So that is that. TNA Rebellion in the books. And with that, we now move on to the real reason you're all here tonight. WrestleMania week. It's time to kick it off. Monday Night Raw. The Go Home Show. For the second year in a row, from the Golden One Center. The Golden One Center in Sacramento last night for the Go Home Monday Night Raw on Netflix ahead of WrestleMania 42. The show featured 3 high-intensity segments involving World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Show including ratings and analysis for each match and or segments. So, and Raw General Manager Adam Pearce kicked off the show with Adam Pearce announcing that Brock Lesnar and Obafemi would sign the contract for their WrestleMania match separately to avoid any further brawls such as the one that ended last week's show. Paul Heyman introduced Brock Lesnar, and the Beast Incarnate made his way to the ring, inking the contract before promising no one would know his opponent's name after this weekend. Heyman wrapped the segment up with a few words of warning for Oba. Short, sweet, and to the point. It was exactly what it needed to be, especially if there was no physicality between Lesnar and Femi. Whether it stayed that way through the rest of the night remained to be seen. So, not going to waste too much time on that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the action here. In a we had Charlotte Flair with Alexa Bliss in her corner. She squared off against Lyra Valkyria. Match in 10 minutes and 25 seconds. I'm going to give it about 3.25 stars. Charlotte and Lyra have strong in-ring chemistry, and it would be great to see them further explore it in a longer, more prominently featured match. The interference from Bayley was a nice bit of continuity. It played on the Queen's involvement from Friday and heightened tension between the babyface teams as WWE sought to heat up a match that feels like one of the coldest on this year's WrestleMania card, despite the abundance of talent involved. I'm going to give our Raw chat last night by hook or by crook. And even though Lyra was the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion, you got to consider this now the biggest win of Lyra's career. Look who she just beat. She just beat the Queen.
Yeah, she just toppled the Queen, and especially on the week of WrestleMania with everything riding on the line. Yeah, that's a massive win for the Valkyrie. No doubt about it. I can't even deny that, Florio.
Huge momentum.
Huge momentum heading into Mania. 3-star bout. And yeah, it shows that Bayley's willing to do whatever it takes to help her friend get over the finish line. And that's exactly what you needed in this situation. So yeah, no doubt about it. Big win, and we'll go from there. So Florio, it's yours.
Indeed, we will. Moving on. Just yeah, a lot of backstage stuff here. All right. We then had another in-ring segment. This was supposed to be an interview segment. The women's world champion Stephanie Vaquer being interviewed by the lovely Kathy Kelly. Big fan. And
Mm-hmm.
well, let's just say she got a little comfort here. Stephanie Vaquer joined Kathy Kelly in the squared circle for a promo ahead of WrestleMania. But before the first question was even asked, Liv Morgan attacked. A brawl broke out before producers and referees attempted to break it up. The intense hatred between the two competitors led to several more shots, including a verbal one that saw Liv tell Stephanie, "I knew your mother was trash, but I didn't know she raised a little biatch." The segment ended with both women being pulled apart and Morgan screaming uncontrollably, bug eyes. Eyes looked like they were about to pop out of her freaking head, looking like an unhinged #1 contender. Well, MF, if I didn't know better, I would say Liv is A-OK now after that scare last week.
Yeah, no, she's A-OK right now, and she is ready for WrestleMania. Stephanie was pissed. She was not having it. And in Spanish, she said, "I am going to kill you at WrestleMania." She said in Spanish, "I am going to kill you." It is serious now. Yeah. Again, Liv went there. She talked about Stephanie's mother. You don't do that. And that's exactly why we got what we got. It is now, it's going to be insane. And there's a lot of fans that is pushing for Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan to be the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. They want this to be the main event of night 1.
That would be a pleasant surprise.
Huh?
That would be a pleasant surprise. I mean, how many women's main events have we had in Mania history? 2?
2, because you had Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks in 37, and then obviously
35.
the legendary 35 main event. That was the triple threat: Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch, winner take all for both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles at the time.
There was another.
So yeah,
there was another match that some people pushed to serve as a WrestleMania as a main event of this WrestleMania. That was Brock Lesnar and Obafemi.
And people were pushing for that as well. Yes, absolutely. But I feel like,
sadly, though, as much as they deserve it, we all know it's going to be Cody and Randy.
Well, they're pushing for Cody and Randy to be the main event. And actually, it has been advertised as the main event. So we know night 1's main event will be Cody versus Randy. But a lot of people are pushing for this because, A, Liv Morgan winning the Royal Rumble should have automatically triggered for her to be the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania.
Yes.
If you think about it, that should have been the trigger for it to happen. But by all means, we get it. You want to go big money market, everything else. Even though Cody and Randy should have been the main event, but because of the interjection of the celebrities, if they would have just told a simple storyline, that would have been more than fine enough to be the main event. But they decided to stick their nose, but then TKO stuck their nose where it didn't belong, and they totally nuked Orton versus Cody to the point that now it's not even worth the main event spot anymore for WrestleMania.
It's more about Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll. How pathetic and sad is that?
Yeah. Well,
that's not fair, especially and these are our 2 guys. These are our guys in that. That's what really that's what really grinds my gears about it.
You're gonna. There's something that happened on Raw, and I'll talk about it, and I'll get into it a little bit deeper in a little bit. But the way that they did this segment is the way they should have done Orton versus Cody. I'll get into it in a little bit.
Exactly.
I'll get into it in a little
Yes,
bit.
agreed.
Nothing more to say. It's yours. Oh, there is one other thing. Very quick.
Yes.
I think Kathy Kelly is gonna. I think what happened is going to come back. I don't think Kathy Kelly is playing with a full deck. Something is going to happen because remember, she might want some revenge after what just happened. They're saying she's all right. She didn't suffer any injury.
I would love to see it.
Huh?
Yeah, thank God is right because she's one of my personal favorites. Ask Michael Bullock; he'll tell you firsthand how much I love.
Oh yeah, you probably were got a little nervous when she hit the deck. You probably got very nervous when she hit the deck on last night.
Of course. Yeah, Bullock and I, when we had during our Raw chat, oh yeah, I got nervous. So, my oh my, the bruising around Liv's eyes after last week's ugly collision with Roxy enhanced this segment. She looked like a woman hell bent on destroying Stephanie Vaquer, let alone win the title. Could that hatred prove costly in Las Vegas on Saturday night? So we shall find out. 6-man tag team matchup. It was the Usos and LA Knight. They squared off against Solo Sikoa, Tonga Loa, and JC Mateo of the MFTs. It was the Usos and LA Knight winning the match, 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Energetic sprint of about, for the most part. Has any superstar fallen down the card so spectacularly as Solo Sikoa has over the last year plus? Interesting how the Usos and MFTs end up on screen together not long after we had hints of a bloodline reunion sprinkled into the Roman Reigns and CM Punk feud. This was a fun match that captured the fans' attention, highlighted the Usos and LA Knight ahead of their WrestleMania match on Saturday night against Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Ice Show Speed, which will kick off WrestleMania altogether on Saturday night as part of that first hour on ESPN2. And they also propelled the story involving Solo and Tama Tonga forward. How much more, MF? Your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I mean, it was a solid matchup. I could give about 2 3/4 of a star. I thought it was a solid bout, but nothing much to write home about on this.
MF,
yes, you. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you.
All right, because I know you've been cutting in and out. I know you've been having connection issues. I know I notice it. I can feel it. No, this is solid for what it was worth. Like I said, 2 3/4 of a star.
Yeah.
Nothing more to add. Floor is yours.
All right, let's see. What else do we have? Gunther made his way to the ring to address his WrestleMania match with Seth Rollins. But before he could speak, the Visionary attacked and sent him scurrying to the floor. The Ring General returned to the ring and explained why it's personal for him to defeat Rollins. He said that instead of proving he was the best wrestler in the world, he aligned himself with Paul Heyman. So it's personal for him to expose the Visionary for the Rollins standing tall, and Gunther's reasoning behind Gunther's attack on Rollins and sanctity of the ring. Only the best as a fake. Easy, logical, and it sets the stage for what could be one of the best wrestling matches at this year's show. Who knows? Maybe even a possible show stealer. You never know.
Sleeper fight of the night possible. Yeah, agreed with that.
Yeah. So that's the story on that. MF, do you have a thought on that? Do you want to give a quick thought on that or anything?
No, I thought, like you said, I think it was a straight up promo. And the thing is that you didn't need to do anything crazy. It's logical, it made a lot of sense, and it also piqued my interest of this match actually tenfold going into WrestleMania. Because it was like, why is this match happening? Why are we doing this fight? They absolutely made a valid argument. They got me hooked, hook, line, and sinker. They did it. They didn't need to do much, and they did it. They got me interested in this match for WrestleMania. Now I can't wait for this fight to go down.
Definitely. So, and we'll give our thoughts on that on Friday night. All right. Io Sky one-on-one with Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane wins the match in an even 10 minutes. MF, I mean, when was the last time Kairi Sane had a monumental win of this nature?
Dude, it has to be at over a year or something, man. It's been a long time for Kairi to get the win, and I'm so happy that she did. But you also got to remember, there was some interference. Asuka was sticking her nose where it didn't belong a lot of the time. That brought Rhea Ripley, and Rhea tried to get
Jade
a
Cargill.
little piece of... Huh?
Jade Cargill.
And Jade Cargill came out and took Rhea out. So that actually kind of led the way for her to get the win and get that monumental victory. But the thing is that if you're the Kabuki Warriors, you don't know if you guys are on standby right now because we don't know if Nikki can go. Nikki is dealing with an ankle injury. We don't know her status. There's a chance the Kabuki Warriors could be at WrestleMania. And that's why they've kind of been holding off what should have been Asuka versus Io at WrestleMania. I cannot believe I'm about to say this. The Genius of the Sky may not be at WrestleMania this year.
And that is a damn shame.
What? Are you
kidding
that
make
me?
Sense. Especially after last year? Do I even need to remind? Do I even need to remind everybody?
No words
about the 5-star classic that her, Bianca, and Rhea.
It was a fight of the year candidate. It was a fight of the year candidate. For heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
I mean,
5-star classic also. One of the greatest women's matches in WrestleMania history.
It was.
It's not the greatest.
No. And this match wasn't the greatest. It was a 3-star bout. I just didn't like the overbook. Other than that, Florio, it's yours. I got nothing more to say.
Yeah. I mean, I get the whole standby thing, but there was a small part of me that thought maybe they were gonna do. Yeah. Well, yeah, we were only kidding ourselves, but yeah, I got all these blocks in my way. Oh my God. All right. This is a match that should have meant more than it did. And the fact that Io and Asuka was not announced for WrestleMania only added to the overall disappointment of its place in the WWE Universe right now. This felt like an incredibly forced way to get Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill onto this show without doing anything interesting with them. 3-star match, I will give you that. Following up on the show's opening segment, Oba Femi strutted to the ring and joined Adam Pearce and Triple H for the signing of the WrestleMania 42 contract. The Ruler put pen to paper before Paul Heyman appeared for the second time on the night. He put over Brock Lesnar's opponent. He put over Oba and claimed that everything he has built to this point will come crashing down in Las Vegas. In typical Heyman fashion, he told the Ruler that his door is always open if and when he's looking to rebuild his career. Femi responded with an impassioned promo that reinforced his status as the Ruler and the man who will conquer the beast Sunday in Vegas. This was a must-have moment for Oba Femi. The spotlight was on him, and he came through big time, cutting a money promo that set the stage for his match with Lesnar, which should be one of the most memorable and buzzworthy ones on the WrestleMania card. Keep an eye on Paul Heyman regarding Oba moving forward. Something tells me the offer to be the Ruler's advocate / wise man was not a one-off line. That's something we need to think about. But MF, Oba.
Yeah,
That was easily his personal best promo.
dude,
Easily.
I'm gonna say this. If you never saw NXT, you don't know how great Oba Femi was when it came to his promo work. It was
Oh yeah.
always top notch,
Oh yeah.
always great quality, everything else. I was with my crew, the Discord crew, you know who they are, and we all were
Mm-hmm.
eating it up. And we all had the same conclusion. Obafemi is definitely the biggest star of WWE for the future. He's arrived.
Amen.
He is there. And the
Amen.
thing is, the one knock that everybody was giving him since he joined the main roster was, when were we going to hear Oba speak? When were we going to hear Oba speak? We know he's a good promo guy. When are we going to get to do it? They gave him the moment and he ran with it and absolutely crushed it last night. Like, there was no doubt. Everybody was eating it up. Everybody was loving it. You hear the crowd noise. You hear the crowd reaction. You know he's super over. He's over athletically. He is a gift. He is amazing. Now the concern is this. This entire story, Oba has always been one up on Brock Lesnar. Every time, Lesnar has never been able to get over on Oba Femi, either through promo, either through the physical altercations, whatever. Oba has always stood tall. Is there a chance that Brock topples Femi? There's a very good chance.
I hate to say it, but there is. I hate to say it, but
And
there is.
that's the scary thing. That's the thing that scares
Absolutely.
us all. Is this
Positively.
is this the moment that Oba falls at WrestleMania? And if he does fall at WrestleMania, what is the
Ooh,
repercussions of the loss if it happens? I don't want it. None of us wants this.
nobody does.
The
No
only
one does.
way, the only way that I could see Brock win it is if he backdoors his way, where Oba gives Brock some kind of thing where Brock has to do a desperate move, a Hail Mary, to cheat his way to the victory. Where in our mind, you couldn't be Oba on your best night, that you had cheat to win, to get over. That's the only logical thing I can see that would make us say okay. But if Brock destroys Oba, like buries him, you're going to have a riot on your hands at WrestleMania. And
Big
I'm not
time.
talking not just from the fans in Vegas, but the IWC, it's going to go nuclear.
All of us.
Yeah, all of us too. Just saying. But the logical explanation is that Oba should win. That's the logical ending to this. Is Oba
Yes.
should beat Brock Lesnar.
Yes, he should.
I think that should be the story. But I could see something, or even maybe someone, sticking their nose where it didn't belong and costing Oba the fight. And that could also be something. Because remember, there is one other factor that we haven't even addressed. There's a big elephant in the room we haven't even addressed.
That's right.
But if we get there, we'll get there. We might have to wait till Sunday night before we get to that part to figure out what happens there. But until then, Florio is yours.
Man, what a segment.
It was a great segment. Yes.
All right. Of Sunday's six-pack ladder match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, 4 of the 6 men involved did battle in a tag team match. In one corner, we had Dragon Lee teaming up with Javon Evans. On the other side, you had Rusev teaming up with JD McDonough. And the winners of this match in 8 minutes and 15 seconds, it was Javon Evans and Dragon Lee picking up the win. And MF, do I lead off on this or do you lead off on this?
I believe it goes to me because you left on the Oba thing.
Oh yeah. Yep. Javon Evans, Dragon Lee winning the match in 8:15, and then all hell broke loose after it. All I can say is Sunday. Oh my god, I cannot wait for this match. Oh my
Yeah,
god, Javon Evans with ladders.
This is gonna be absolutely. This is gonna be a demolition derby, man. This is gonna be wild. This was at least 2.5 stars for the match. It was a good match. I'm not gonna say anything bad about it, but I will say this: Rusev. Oh, dude, you want to talk about a guy having a moment? Rusev, man, finally got his breakout. We've been waiting to see Rusev ever since he came back to WWE. He hasn't even had a moment like this, and boy, he did. I'm gonna say this: when it came to Dragon Lee, he broke his back and made him humble. That's all I can say, man. The way he put that accolade and then he wrenched back, man, I was like, "Oh my god!" I even said, dude, I was even saying it to my Discord crew. I was like, he broke his back and made him humble, and he humbled him, and they were like, God damn, Rusev. I was like, okay, big fella, we see you, brother. We see you. And that's why I was like, yeah, that's the Bulgarian Brute. He's back. And I want to see that Rusev at WrestleMania, man. If we get that, I don't think he's going to win the Intercontinental Championship, but
no,
that would be quite a feat if he could pull that off, man. I don't know what to expect at WrestleMania. This is going to be wild. That's all I'm going to say. It's yours, Florio.
The only thing I can say is we don't know who's going to win the match, but there is one thing I can guarantee. The one thing I can guarantee, UMF on commentary. I think we're gonna hear you say, "Look at this," quite a few times.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. I mean, I can feel Bullock and I even jokingly set an over-under on how many times they're going to say it during the match. And I think we said it at about 3 or so.
God.
We said it at about 3 or so.
You said it at 3. I think I'm going to go over that. I think
so too.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I hear you do that, look at this. And, I just get that. I just get chills every time I hear it.
Well.
And I know we're going to hear it quite a lot during that match for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
All kidding aside, though, fun little sprint, solid 3 stars. And you said it, MF. Rusev badly needed this. He looked like a world beater in the closing moments of this segment. For a guy last seen by most fans getting squashed by Obafemi, this was a major momentum builder. With that said, JD McDonough losing here could mean he wins on Sunday. Who knows? That's the rules of 50-50 pro wrestling booking.
Yeah, it's possible.
So watch out for JD McDonough. We'll see. We end the show with CM Punk making his way through the fans in Sacramento before joining Roman Reigns in the squared circle for their final encounter before the World Heavyweight Championship match, which will be the main event of WrestleMania when they main event Sunday night. Punk told Reigns, "Here's the truth. I hate you because I envy you." Punk said he hates that Roman had wrestling handed to him, that the OTC has competed in the main event of WrestleMania as many times as he has. He hates that he feels that way. He apologized to Reigns for taking Sika's name in vain and said he found his family and his people in the Indies. Punk said he hates that he has to share his first singles WrestleMania main event with Roman and vowed to retain his title in Vegas. Reigns said that's probably the truest stuff I've ever heard you say, before admitting he hates Punk also. He also said, "I hope that one day when I leave, they miss me as much as they missed you. But here's the thing that caught my ear and eye, MF. Reigns said he is taking his title back and that quote unquote we return this place to where it was. We
Bloodline.
possibly.
Bloodline. No doubt. The thing is, what does he mean and what members are we talking?
I got more on that. I got more than that meets the eye.
Oh yeah.
Let me give my thoughts on the segment first. This was always going to struggle to replicate the buzz that last week's pipe bomb promo generated. With that said, this was a solid back and forth that saw both men get honest with each other for the first time in this build before delivering their final remarks. Who was the we Roman referred to? Is it the bloodline, especially after the Usos were so instrumental early on in this program? Or could Roman Reigns be aligning himself with Pat McAfee and Randy Orton in an effort to return pro wrestling to what they perceive as greatness?
Oh.
That's not a slip. That will play into the main event. What do you think of that, MF? How do you follow that?
I did not think of that angle. Well.
TKO.
It's possible. And you know, he did, when Punk made his pipe bomb promo, he actually did refer to Roman in that TKO light. I mean,
and who else did he go after?
Yeah.
He went after your boy.
Yeah. So
he went after Pat McAfee.
But I don't. This is going to be very interesting. This could definitely be very interesting because now we may be on a power struggle. TKO versus WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, this could be very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that plus with Cena as plus also you also got to think Cena as the host. He could be a wild card in all of this at WrestleMania. I don't know.
Whoa.
We'll see. And especially on night 2. So, what's going to be the lasting image? What's going to be the major talking point that we're going to be talking about after night 2 of WrestleMania? Man, I don't know. This is going to be insane. Like, that is very interesting you just brought to the table. That's got me thinking now. That's got me thinking really hard now about how I want to predict this on Friday night. All right. Yeah. And the thing was, going into the story, this was what I was looking for. Remember how I was talking about this is how they should have booked Randy and Cody?
Mm-hmm.
This is how they did it. This was perfect. This was absolutely a home run hit. Everybody loved it. Everybody connected. CM Punk did exactly what he needed to do. Roman Reigns did exactly what he needed it to do. This was perfection. This was cinema. This was shut up and take my money. There's nothing more to say. Perfect way to close the build for the Raw main event at WrestleMania. Perfectly done. Nothing more to say. They stuck the landing. It was perfect.
And your overall thoughts on the final
stop. Solid Monday Night Raw, just like last year's how it was solid. This was a really good Raw. Great go home. Really nothing more to add. 8.5 to 9 out of 10. More 8.5. Florio, go.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Obafemi has been the MVP of the build to WrestleMania nearly every time he has stepped through the curtain. That was again the case last night as the ruler seized the moment and delivered a fine performance on the microphone. The former NXT champion stood in the ring, addressed Paul Heyman, and never once appeared overwhelmed or out of place. He looked like he belonged. Considering his match with Lesnar will also be featured on ESPN simulcast of WrestleMania's first hour Sunday night, that showcase was essential. all but passed the test with flying colors. The go-home edition of Raw was perfectly fine TV, but it kind of lacked the sense of urgency that last week's show had. The Punk pipe bomb notwithstanding, this show felt like one in which things happened. This one, not really so much. Still, every feud was featured, every Raw brand match was hyped, and the show closing confrontation was another strong entry in the Punk and Roman story. Not quite the most gripping, but still a perfectly acceptable broadcast. I think you overscored it just a little bit, but I'm gonna meet you there. I'm gonna give it around 7.5 to 8 for me. So that's the best I can personally do. So with that being said, let's get into week 1 of NXT Revenge. And NXT Revenge, first of 2 weeks that's going to be on this. It is WrestleMania week, and NXT is delivering 2 weeks of action with NXT Revenge, beginning with tonight's show at the Performance Center. Tony D'Angelo put his newly won NXT championship on the line against All Ego Ethan Page, while Lola Vice defended her newly won NXT Women's Championship on the line against Jacy Jayne. Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan collided once again, while Joe Hendry responded to his championship loss with a special concert. Could this be the end of the road for multiple NXT stars ahead of WrestleMania? Would any titles change hands less than 2 weeks after Stand and Deliver? Let's find out, shall we? And we're going to start it off. First match of the night, it was Kalani Jordan one-on-one with Jada Parker. And Kalani Jordan picks up the win, 12 minutes and 15 seconds. Yeah, I got to give this in excess of 3.25, teetering on 3.5. This was quickly and obviously better than the first match between these two, if I'm being honest. In particular, they got much more time to sell their story and wrestle a complete bout. Kalani, I think, is still struggling to play the heel with her style, but she found more openings to build heat in the rematch, focusing on wearing down Ms. Parker's leg. This gave Jada a chance to sell throughout and build more sympathy with the crowd already behind her from the start. While they never quite reached their peak pace, it was nice to see both come out of this looking good rather than someone left embarrassed. Jada and Jordan are two women that should be considered for a call-up in the post-WrestleMania cycle. Neither are complete packages, but it does not feel like they have much more to learn from NXT. They could use a fresh challenge to push them to the next level. So I'm going to give this in excess of 3.25 to 3.5 stars. And the overwhelming support for Miss Parker waned a bit over the course of the match, but Jordan kept the crowd heat focused on her. So not much more. 3.25, 3.5. MF, Kalani Jordan evens the score. You get this feeling it's probably going to be a rubber match down the road.
Yeah, I don't think they're right. I think by SummerSlam they'll get called up, but not yet. I don't think they should. This is 3 to 3.25, though. I think you partially overscored a little bit there, Florio, but I thought it was still a fine match. So, but 3.25 for me. So let's move on.
Yeah, and we do indeed move on. I believe this is where we had the Joe Hendry concert here. All right. Okay. Joe Hendry. This was his concert. So he promised he was not done chasing the NXT championship, focusing his song on Tony D. But then Keanu Carver arrived before Henry could get to the chorus. When Carver did not back down, Henry bashed his guitar on Carver's back. No effect on Keanu Carver. And then Carver bloodied him, sending him in security through the barricade at ringside. Henry delivered a solid verse before Carver arrived, seemingly teasing he is not done in NXT just yet. However, the post-concert destruction indicates a different story is on the horizon. NXT has put so much behind Carver early, who was a talented big man. This was his biggest spotlight yet, destroying Henry in his concert. If he defeats Joe Henry in a follow-up match, that would instantly make him a top contender for the NXT championship. This could be an easy answer for transitioning Henry to the main roster. He puts over Carver to make NXT's next big monster, then transitions smoothly to SmackDown or Raw with nothing seriously lost. So that's the way I see it when it comes to that. we had a new talent debut. Former Evolve Women's Champion Kaylee Armstrong made her in-ring debut. She went up against the female winner of season 2 of LFG, Skylar Ray, aka Danny Sikelski. Callie Armstrong wins the match in an even 4 minutes. So, yeah. Um, tell you what, the former Evolve Women's Champion, solid if unspectacular debut for Armstrong, who could have been more dominant. Ray did not get her own entrance for this match, but still worked relatively even with Armstrong throughout. The full NXT integration will not be complete until she works with bigger names, like a Jada Parker or a Kalani Jordan, would both make sense as big tests. So, if I had to put a star on it, if I had to give a rating, it would probably be 1.5 to 2.
I
Robert
agree with that.
Stone told the Vanity Project and Blake Monroe that she would face Tatum Paxley next week for the NXT Women's North American Championship, but with a stipulation determined by the champ. We'll get into that in just a moment. And there was also a moment. Stephanie Vaquer, the Women's World Champion, showing up and wishing Lola Vice good luck ahead of her women's title rematch against Jacy Jayne. So I know MF was very plenty happy to see those two together. And then from there, yeah, these are two of your favorites. Those are two of your favorite baby girls, MF. I know it. So NXT Championship on the line. Tony D'Angelo defending against Ethan Page. And the winner of the match in 12 minutes and 45 seconds, and still the NXT champion, it's Tony D. He wins the match. Shiloh Hill was the difference maker. He got Ricky Saints out of there before he could even interfere. So MF, no big surprise. Tony D, still the NXT champion, defeating Ethan Page, 12:45.
This should be the end of Tony. This should be the end of Ethan Page in NXT now. I believe he should be on his way to the main roster. I do believe that should be the next route for him after WrestleMania. Tony D deserves to be the face of NXT now. Let him run with the belt for a little bit. And I do believe I do believe next week or on week 2 of Revenge, I think should be the end of Ricky Saints as well. That I think Ricky Saints should be on his way out when he loses to Shiloh Hill. Because I think Shiloh Hill is also a big star in the making, to say the very least. So yeah,
Absolutely.
there's nothing more to say. This was about, I want to say, about close to 3. The overbook kind of punished it a little bit because it would have been 3.25, but 3 is the right rating. Florio, go.
Yeah. Fantastic title match. I thought this was a fantastic title match, highlighting Tony D's explosiveness throughout. While Ethan had some crafty answers to stay in the fight, he was ultimately outmatched by the champ. It may have been best to spread out the NXT Championship and women's title matches over the 2 nights, because this set a tough standard for Lola Vice and Jacy Jayne to follow. With this win and Ricky Saints and Joe Henry moving to new rivals, Tony D may have to wait a bit to see who will be the next man up to contest them. Wins over Saints and Henry would further solidify his reign, while Keanu Carver, I believe, feels like the biggest threat to him. I'm going to give this in excess of 3.25 to 3.5 stars for me. So, not much more. Then we had the North American champion, Miles Bourne. He called out Dion Lennox, who arrived with Dark State. The North American champion offered a title shot to Lennox, but he warned that he might not happen if Dark State attacked him. Saquon Sugars took offense to Lennox, implying Lennox was Dark State's leader, and tried to attack Bourne, who fought him off. Lennox and Sugars had to be separated by Osiris Griffin and Cutler James afterward. Solid segment, primarily carried by Bourne. His confidence and focus on the mic is infectious. It's easy to root for him as North American champion. He and Lennox should have a good match next week, but the stage was clearly set for Sugars to cost Lennox the match in some way. Internal conflict within Dark State is a good move for a group that is not working as well as they once did. And Sugars especially needs a stronger spotlight and could benefit from breaking away from the rest. So we'll leave it there. Speed Championship tournament match. This was EK Prosper versus Dorian Van Dux. Never heard of these guys. I think they're Evolve guys.
They're Evolve guys.
This is a tournament match. Yep. EK Prosper winning the match in 2 minutes and 53 seconds. It was about as good as a speed match can get. Both men were flying from the start. Dux especially stood out with his wild high flying despite his larger size. Prosper was always the right man to win here, as he has been NXT's bigger project so far, though Dux made a compelling case that he has higher upside. Either man could win next week, but I think he's going to go up against Lexis King for the Speed Championship next week. King and Birthright need a victory at this stage to come up as a serious threat in NXT. So
yeah, I think Lexis King will successfully defend
one-on-one with Joe Hendry next week. Yeah. And we got Keanu Carver going up against Joe Hendry, and then from there, lying on some scaffolding, Paxley said she would send. Then Shiloh Hill enters with a casket. For the first time that I can ever recall, we're going to have ourselves a women's casket match.
Yep.
Tatum Paxley, Blake Monroe for the Women's North American Championship in a casket match. MF, do you ever recall seeing two women in a casket match? I haven't,
we've never done it. We've never done it this way. This is a first. We've never had a women's casket match in the history of not only just in general, but I mean, in WWE, we've never had it. In NXT, we've never had it. I don't ever remember AEW or even TNA doing a women's casket match. I think this may be first time ever. I think maybe in Japan they've done it, but that's Japan. I don't ever remember a women's casket match in North America, period. Yeah, we're about to make some history, folks.
Yeah. Actually, there was a casket match before. Tatum Paxley against Wendy Chu. They actually had a casket match. So there you go. That's what we're gonna get next week. That's crazy. So next week, week 2 of Revenge, and this is looking like a loaded show here. Listen to this: Sol Ruca versus Zarya, last woman standing. Miles Bourne, Dion Lennox for the North American Championship. Keanu Carver versus Joe Hendry, and Tatum Paxley versus Blake Monroe for the Women's North American Championship in a casket match. That sounds like a pretty good show to me.
That's a very good show.
Main event: Lola Vice defending the NXT Women's Championship against the former champion, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, Lainey Reed, Fatal Influence in her corner, of course. Winner of the match in 10.5 minutes. That's 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And still the NXT Women's Champion. It is Lola Vice. 3 1/4. That's the best I can go for this. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, it was a solid matchup here. It's a genuine shame that NXT did not give JC and Lola more time, starting with 12 minutes left in the show and still going to picture-in-picture early in the bout. While they do not have strong chemistry, they both fought hard to make the most of this spotlight. The crowd was more invested in this than anything else on the night. JC put over Lola as much as she could, selling the danger of exchanging strikes with the champion. Even with Fatal Influence support, she was barely finding openings. By the end, it was clear that JC was delivering a final refrain for her championship dreams, and this might just be the last time she appears in NXT. Fatal Influence as a whole would make sense to head to Raw or SmackDown next week, though WWE has also shown a tendency to break up groups like this in call-ups. What is most obvious right now is that Lola Vice is the champion for the long haul, but she's got some company. Callie Armstrong. She showed up. Kendall Gray. By the way, how great was that chronicle about Kendall Gray during the show? Great chronicle. And then from there, Izzy Dame and the Culling. Zarya, Sol Ruka. Lola, Mamacita. I hope you enjoy that title, Mamacita, because you got a lot of guests coming to your dinner table, Mama.
I think she's ready. She's ready. I got a feeling like she's ready to put some back fists on some women. So I don't think she's afraid of the moment. She knows you as much as she worked her way to the title, she's gonna do whatever it takes to keep the gold too, Florio. So I think especially that sexy Cubana, she's ready. She is more than ready to step up and knock some people out.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So yeah, it's about a 3 to 3.25 star match. MF, Lola Vice, still the champ, 10.5 minutes. And there's no question about it. JC and or Fatal Influence, main roster bound.
Yeah, I think JC alone is probably on her way out. I don't know about Fallon yet.
Laney Reed.
Lanny, I don't think so. I think they're gonna. I don't. I think Lanny still needs a lot of work. Fallon could go. Fallon definitely should probably go, but JC is definitely gone. She is definitely gone. So we'll see. 3.25 stars is the correct rating. Nothing more to say. Florio, what's yours?
All right, MF. Overall thoughts on week 1 of Revenge?
Solid show, pretty good, not too great. 7.5 out of 10 is my rating. Nothing more to add, Florio. Wrap it up, and then let's go into future content.
The pacing of NXT Revenge let down a strong card, delivering quality matches from a variety of fresh and familiar stars. Especially if this was a send-off match for JC Jane, Lola Vice versus JC deserved at least 5 more minutes of spotlight. Too many backstage segments hampered a show that should have focused on the matches and promos in the ring more. Still, there is no denying the work of the talent, especially the fantastic Tony D'Angelo Ethan Page match that may serve as the end of all ego in NXT. Joe Hendry has set the stage for his own send-off, putting over the dangerous threat of Keanu Carver in NXT. Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan upped their game together and set the stage for a plunder rubber match that can allow them both to highlight their talent fully. As a whole, NXT Revenge delivered in its first night, but the second night should focus even more on what the talent do in the ring with a strong lineup. About 7.5. I guess that's right. So with that, that'll put the bow on this very exciting edition of Ridiculously Raw as we kick off WrestleMania week. We will be back with you again Thursday night, usual time, MF, I'm sure, 10:30 or so.
Usual time. Yep, usual time.
And we're going to do something that we usually never do. We're going to recap the Masters. Yes, you heard us right. We're going to recap the Masters. Rory McIlroy winning the Masters. You'll get our in-depth thoughts on that. We'll also get into week 4 of the UFL, even though a game will already be decided because there's a Thursday night game this week. So we'll only be talking about 3 games. Maybe we'll do a small recap of that other game, but we'll see.
Depending if it ends on time, when it ends.
And then the main event, double main event. We will preview the first round of the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs. That's on Thursday. Friday, 11 p.m., immediately following SmackDown. It's all about WrestleMania. We will be previewing nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania 42. There will be, for this week only, there will be no TNA Impact. There will be no Friday Night SmackDown. Even though SmackDown does have 2 notable matches, an 8-man tag team street fight with the MFTs and the Wyatt Six, and of course, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That'll be, but it's going to be all about WrestleMania. And MF, are we going to be recapping WrestleMania after each night?
Yes.
All right. So set the table for that if you would.
That will be either, I want to say, about 10:30 on both nights. We'll recap night 1 and night 2, both at 10:30s.
Yep. Saturday, following WrestleMania Saturday, and then following WrestleMania Sunday.
Yes.
All right. All right. Sounds good to me. And then 1 week from tonight, we get the fallout from WrestleMania. It's the Raw after Mania. You know what that means. Call ups, surprises. Last year was the best one of those we've had in a very long time. I could not recall the last time a Raw after Mania was special. Last year was one of the best ones we had in a long time. They got to hit a grand slam with that one. And then we'll also get into week 2 of NXT Revenge. So that's it. So until Thursday night, for TXN Sports World, this is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and always and forever our first lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, the one and only Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Thursday night, for TXN Sports World, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.